Okay.
But if you're presenting yourself in a professional way, even though you've had this setback happen to you, then you're going to be, one of the ones that will get passed through. So I think a lot of it is, once these people are done with, serving their time, there needs to be some sort of job training,
etiquette, grooming.
Huh?
You said readiness. I said etiquette, grooming.
Yes.
Yeah, there does need to be some transition,
Absolutely.
some sort of into the
transition from prison to the world of work, because you're not guaranteed anything. Neither any of us are, regardless of our backgrounds. Not any of us are guaranteed anything. I've had to work and fight for the stuff that I have, and this person with this blemish on their record has to fight the same way I do. But unfortunately, my choices may be a little more plentiful than this person.
Okay.
One of the things I always tried to do is, if I saw the potential and saw the skill, I would take my HR hat off and go, okay, I'm gonna give you some coaching. I did that with numerous candidates that I knew had background, because I felt like, that's who I am as a person and as an HR professional, is to help and guide and coach you.
Okay. Well, some people don't see them. There's a phrase by in the counseling world, none of us can see our backs, and it's really making the point that you have a sense of yourself, and there are character flaws with yourself that you really honestly don't see. And what is something, as when you think of that phrase, none of us can see our backs, that candidates need to know, like the top 3 things. If I was an ex-felon coming to you seeking employment, what would you suggest I work on?
One of the first things they should work on is understanding what their criminal background is. They need to be able to speak to their background check. They need to be able to know what's on that. So that's number one. That's half the battle right there. Okay,
you getting people that have not looked at their own background?
Oh yeah. I'll get people that'll say, well, I knew about that, but what's all this other stuff? I'm like, what?
Oh, okay.
So, understand your criminal background. Know everything that's out there on yourself, because you have to be able to speak to it. When the application asks you, have you ever been convicted of a crime? A crime consists of a misdemeanor or a felony. You need to be able to list that. Don't just say, well, I received a misdemeanor in, 2005, but then you don't list the felony. If the question asks you, have you ever been convicted of a felony, then you check yes and you list those. It's what I tell candidates all the time is just disclose everything, because it's going to come out. Every company, most mom and pop companies, every company is running a background check today. It used to be a very expensive venture for companies, but it's not anymore. You can go online and run most mom and pop companies that don't, buy into the big box of services for this. They can do it online for less than $20.
Oh, well, then it behooves them to do it then. And I know there's certain fields
and they're doing
that do it anyway, like daycare, like nursing homes, education. The educational background, and do it in a minute. So you're right. What's the second thing they need to know?
The second thing they need to know, so I'm going to combine the first thing. So they need to know their background check and be able to speak to it, and they need to be able to not be afraid to disclose. I know that's a lot for number one, but that's definitely what they need to do. They need to be able to speak, be truthful, to disclose the information. The second thing they need to be able to do is just conversate, about gaps in employment. Be able to conversate about the situation that took them out of society. and conversate about the positive. You know, what were you doing before you were incarcerated? You know, what were you doing prior to this happening to you? Be able to really shine some light on their skills and be able to talk about that. And then the third thing they need to be able to do is just present themselves, you know, just kind of humble yourself when you get to the interview and just be able to sell that hiring manager on what you can do. The hiring manager 9 times out of 10 is not going to know your background because HR professionals don't share that. That's none of the hiring manager's business. The only person that knows about the background check is the recruiter and the HR professional. The hiring manager generally doesn't know. So this kind of gives the applicant, you know, here's a clean slate. This person doesn't know all the stuff we know. Get in there and shine and show this person that you're capable of doing this job.
Okay. And shining is what? Dressing appropriately. Articulating yourself.
You don't
showing
have
up on time.
Absolutely.
What is it?
Showing up on time. You know, you don't have to have a suit. You could wear a nice pair of khaki pants and a shirt. For a lot of these warehouse jobs and things like that, you don't even have to wear a tie. Just look neat. You know, you can look casual if that's what you have, but look neat. With that.
Let me ask you: are you actually getting applicants that show up in what? Jogging pants? What are they showing up in? You know, a lot of them have jeans on, and a T-shirt, and the jeans are falling down to their legs. I've seen candidates like that. With a sag at a job interview?
Yes, I've seen. I had a female candidate that looked like she was a good forklift driver too, and they ended up hiring her. I don't know how they did that, but because she wouldn't have got past me looking like that. She looked like she was going to the club. She had on a club dress. And shoes, but you know she had 5 years of forklift experience, and they hired her.
Okay.
So, but my point is that's an exception to the rule. Just find somebody, go to Goodwill. You can go get a pair of pants for $2 and a shirt.
Okay.
You know, nice. It doesn't have to be dressy. Just look neat. You can wear what you have.
You're talking about effort. You're saying that that in general, this is a special, unique experience, and you are banking that these people will want you, so act that way. Okay. We know that background checks are used for more than just employment, jobs, housing, insurance, all kinds of things. Make the background check absolutely vital. And, you know, once you have a record, really, you have a record. As we wrap up this interview, because I actually want to interview you again. I mean, honestly, Ms. Crosby, there's so much here. Just talking about EEOC, Title VII, all the changes that are being pushed. What is one thing that, for people who may listen to this podcast, that you want them to know as they go out in this 2014 looking for a job? What is one thing you want them to take with them?
Oh, wow, that's hard. Because it's so many things that, that I want them to know. But I'll have to say that the application is not just the tool that the employer uses, to see if you're qualified for the job.
Okay.
The application is actually a tool. It's an additional tool. It's to see if you can follow directions. Can you read what it says, and can you follow directions? So for people that skip over stuff and put C resume because they don't feel like putting the job skills for each job that they had, those are applications that are going to get sent to the rejection pile. So I guess my one thing would be is, take the application process seriously, because that is how you're going to get an in. Mm-hmm. That's the first step.
You just shared something. You said you was kind of struggling to narrow it down to one, but you actually end up sharing one that most of us don't think about. That and I have to highlight it because I'm a teacher as well, and I'm always amazed at how many adults struggle with following basic instructions and just committing to the process, meaning that, the job application is not going to be fun. It's not meant to be fun.
It's not.
You really reinforce, like, wow, folks are really absolutely getting weeded, not because of their background, but before we could even get to the background, just filling out the application, they demonstrated they couldn't follow basic instructions.
Exactly. And I learned that early in my HR career. Okay. I learned that early in my HR career that, half of as a recruiter, half of your battle, you're going to reject applications because 40% of the applicants that you're looking at didn't follow instructions.
Well, you've been listening to Beyond the Surface Radio. Again, I'm your host, Dr. Wanda J. Evans-Brewer, and I've been blessed to have a really intense, this is very dense, important information, conversation with LaSalle Crosby. Again, she's explained she's been in HR since 15 years, so you come with just a litany of experience. And until we chat again, may you be safe under God's grace.
Thank you so much, Dr. Brewer.
Okay, we're going to close out.